All right.
Okay.
So it is now 6:32, August 18th. Regular scheduled session of the local agency is called to order. Can you please get a roll call?
Yes. Present tonight we have Darrell Lopez, Lawrence Wright, Stephen Ridge, Jeff Waterford, Emma Reichert, and absent is Todd Sykes.
At this time, we can all silence our cell phones so that we don't have interruptions. We're recording this tonight because we're having some technical issues.
Yes.
We are on, I think it's approval of minutes. Is there any?
Motion to approve the minutes from Tuesday, 16th.
Yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussions on the minutes? Seeing none, all. Passes, thank you. Public comments is the time anyone wants to comment on anything on the agenda. Seeing none, close the public comments. Public meeting, public hearings, and we have two items. First one is the AR 6157. President?
Yes.
You'll step up and, press.
Good evening. My name is Craig Cooper Smith, 6157 Lake Charm Circle. Okay.
Give us the summary.
All right. So,
Sorry, put you on the hot spot.
no problem. If you don't mind, I thought Tony was going to speak for a bit. Okay. I did make a few handouts. If I may pass those out.
You can put it in one for the,
We're done. Yeah, we have one. Just give her
Okay.
a share.
One for the record. Thank you.
I'm probably the newest resident of Lake Charm. Moved in there April this year, and when I purchased the property, there was an existing 5-foot chain link fence on the rear of the property. What I'm requesting to is replace that existing 5-foot chain link fence to a more standard 6-foot vinyl white fence. So therefore, it would be a 2-foot deviation to the maximum 4-foot fence currently there. Majority of my homes on that block, as you can see in the presentation, do have an existing fence that is already there. I believe some of them have been grandfathered in. Most recently, 2 doors down, they did request the same deviation to go from 4 to 6, and it was for a vinyl fence. I did also obtain signed letters from all of my next door neighbors and the gentleman who is the president of the HOA for that area, and signed letters saying that they do not object to the fence being there as well, as far as going from 4 to 6. They're actually looking forward to it being a little bit nicer than it currently is. I was also willing to plant some shrubs on the outside of that fence to make it more appealing, so we're not looking at a fence, we can look at some greenery there. Fence will come in. I currently have an entrance to my home where any vehicle pulling in my gate is 25 feet back, so there will be plenty of space where we're not going to protrude into traffic or anything. So again, just going from 5-foot current to 6-foot, going from not so great looking chain link to a nice vinyl fence, and that's it. So I did include some pictures in the back of the presentation that does show all the fences and bush lines along that area. So this will again be in line with that. Questions?
We have questions.
Great, thank you.
Can we hear from staff?
Mr. Chairman, we have with us tonight Ms. Antonia De Sue, who's a new planner for the city of Oviedo. So she's going to do the staff presentation for items 3, and we will be here for questions.
Okay. Well, welcome. We'll try to be nice as possible.
And she's been great during the process.
Okay, can we do the math, please?
So,
Mr. Cooper Smith said, this is a request for the local plan and development code section 2.7A, recognizing deviations from the minimum or maximum requirements for the property located at 6157 Lake Charm Circle. This application of low density residential and is designated LPA section 4.15C, living fence 4.5 feet from the right of way. The fence will serve security and privacy purposes. The applicant has submitted an application for the requested deviation by the written narrative for the criteria for approval of action 12. Staff has reviewed the deviation application for LPC section 2.7A proposes to add shrubs along the outside of the fence in an attempt to be efficient as by the development board to be approved by the fence. Number 4, environmentally sensitive areas. The proposed is not anticipated to adversely impact environmentally sensitive areas. 5, only minimum deviation granted. Requested 2-foot deviation to the 4-foot height requirement in LDC section 4.15. Minimum deviation necessary to accommodate the applicant's required 4.5 feet from the southern property line of a state. Proposed deviation would not prevent the applicant from maintaining or not create more usable or suitably located open space with building and common facilities that would otherwise be provided for the application of the minimum LDC requirements. Existing non-conforming uses of other property not based on non-conforming situations on neighboring properties or districts were consolidating deviation along with one condition. Foot height deviation to the required 4-foot fence 4.5 feet from the property line on the state road 426 within a 50% deviation. Place between the property line and the fence to help screen it from public.
My question is both for staff and the applicant. The first question, is there any irrigation out along the road where these shrubs are going to be planted?
Sorry, can you come back up?
Is there any irrigation out along the road where these shrubs are going to be planted?
Yeah, I'll make
or are
sure
they just
there's-
going to get what falls from the sky?
There is irrigation currently there, and I'll make sure that it reaches far enough to those shrubs.
Okay, and for staff, is there a minimum size required for these shrubs? Or can it be any size they want from bare root to 20 feet tall?
Does not indicate the size of the shrubs. It said it has to be planted along from one side of the fence to the other side of the fence. But in terms of the height, we did not specify.
Okay.
And in terms of the width, we didn't specify.
I think I was more concerned with the irrigation, because without the irrigation, those things would grow incredibly slow before they got up to actually providing any barrier to the public view. So, okay, thank you.
Clear. Motion to recommend approval of the deviation request for 6157 Lake Charm Circle.
Any discussion? Okay. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item of A is deviation request for 465 White Cotton Circle. Is the applicant station name and address for the record, please?
Good evening, my name is Luigi Ferraro, 465 White Cotton Circle in Oviedo. We moved to Oviedo 3 years ago, more or less, and when we talked to the builder, we wanted to have a summer kitchen back there, but it was too expensive, so my wife pushed it off. 2 months ago, she said, okay, it's time to get a summer kitchen, so I put in a permit, and then that's when we found out that where I want to put the summer kitchen, there should be the AC system. The AC system is actually on the side of the house, between the two properties, and on the same height that the property beside me has the AC system. So the deviation today is, I'm asking the board, the AC system there, where it is, and
We hear from staff, please.
This is a request of the local planning agency to setback deviation for a property located for land development code section 2.78 recognizes the possibility in the application and the requirements may be warranted. The authority may therefore grant deviations from the minimum and maximum requirements of 5 White Cotton Circle on a corner lot located. The property has a future land use designation of low density residential. The air conditioning unit currently sits on the west side of the house, away from the unit in the rear, which is south front property. Applicant submitted a building permit number 20-3 rule establishes air conditioning units may be located on the side. This property has a minimum side setback of 8 feet. The applicants have provided a written narrative as well as photographs. Further, the property is on a corner lot, and the corner lot setback applies on both deviation, scale, and intensity are compatible with, and will not neighboring property directly to the west has an air conditioning unit. Neighboring property's air conditioning unit sits approximately 8.2 air conditioning to our office and retreat. In addition, the applicant will be required to plant 1 planting tree to protection of environmentally sensitive areas. The proposed deviation is not necessary to conserve and protect the natural environment and is not anticipated to adversely affect any environmental minimum deviation granted. The proposed deviation would not prevent the applicants from maintaining at least 20 creative or usable and suitably located open space considered during the review of the proposed deviation. Conclusion, staff recommends approval of the deviation development order which grants the following deviation along with one condition for the side setback from the property line to allow the air conditioning unit to remain 4.56 feet from the property.
It states that the applicant shall plant what shade tree is and why is it?
So the reason for not placing a hedge is because there's a hedge already there around the AC. So he can beef up the existing hedge. If you look at the property there's a property next to him, you'll see that there's a tree there. That air conditioning unit on that property, which is fully in compliance with the land development code, you can't see the air conditioning unit at all. So he can beef up his existing hedge around his tree, but there's also a tree on that neighbor's lot. It's not a canopy tree, but there is another tree. So it would mimic that, except for a shade tree. A canopy tree is a shade tree. And so we have it's called a Florida-friendly list, and there's different types of canopy trees that are allowed. And so we're recommending that they place a canopy tree between the air conditioning unit and the right-of-way.
Oh,
So
understood.
you can also recommend that they beef up the existing hedge that's there.
Okay, yeah, that part wasn't in there, but that's, okay. I see the picture now. That's helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm aware. You all can jump at any time.
Motion to approve deviation request for 465 White Cotton Circle, with additions as written in our report.
Is there a second? All right, is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'm in favor of granting this, and I don't really have an issue with what you're doing. The issue I have is that this is an after-the-fact permit. And I believe, I've been in the permitting arena on both sides of the table for over 40 years now. Don't do enforcement, why do you even do permitting? It doesn't make any sense. So I came in here tonight leaning towards a monetary penalty as well, which is very commonly done in all other jurisdictions around the state of Florida. But after discussing it with staff and the city attorney, the city does not have any mechanism doing that at this point in time. That may change in the future as we're getting ready to rewrite a comprehensive, but as of right now, we do not have that. So having said that, it's your lucky night. I won't be pushing for a fine, but it's just something that I think the board and the city should consider looking at in the near future when we're doing this.
Mr. Chairman, so based on your comment, how would we assess the homeowner? They didn't pull the permit, the builder pulled the permit, or the developer was? So, you understand where I'm going with this, is that it's after the fact, but it would also be after the fact that the homeowner that was left, with the bill in the sense of the contractor or the developer who went through and permitted, number one, and the city approved it.
If I'm not mistaken, and the city attorney can verify, the state of Florida, it's the owner of record is responsible for any transgressions regardless of who did.
That is correct. Yes. Yeah, but I don't have a problem. I'm just right. I can't imagine penalizing a homeowner for trying to do the right thing. Should have been done ahead of time, I grant you, but penalize them.
Yes.
I'm keeping my garage shut.
Oh, come on now.
Until it happens.
Okay.
And enough for and it's not for argument's sake, it's just really how, where we would find a mechanism to, number one, assess a value to it, and again, who's damaged by this, I guess is the question. So, if I would understand if the neighbor came and said, hey, you built on my property, there's an impact, but I'm trying to figure out who's harmed or how we can assess it now. That's kind of where I was asking the question, what the thought process was on that.
Well, this one, it is extremely minor. Others aren't as minor as this. And it's very simple to set up a penalty as that. And therefore, it's a weighted matrix, so the amount of fine is commensurate with the amount of the deviation of the issue. And, it's, do you fine anybody? Or do you start leveling fines, anywhere as little as $100 on up to major fines where lakeshore property owners clear their entire lakeshore front?
No.
Fill in and build a seawall without a permit? It's a slippery slope. You either fine or you don't fine. You can't pick and choose how you do it. And this is about the only jurisdiction I'm aware of, and I've dealt with a lot of them in Florida and other states, that doesn't have a mechanism other than their tree ordinance to be able to do that. If there's no repercussion for ignoring a permit, whether it's intentional or not, shame on his builder. But I would be surprised if the builder was instructed to not apply for a modified permit, then why do we have permits?
Well, I want to move this along, but I want to make one comment on code enforcement. We had a situation, I'm not going to say where it was, the homeowner actually built part of his property without any permitting on the other guy's property. That where I could see, and the code enforcement did penalize the original homeowner. So in essence, there really is a mechanism if there's a violation that doesn't come across both of these items. They're doing it the right way, so I couldn't see them being penalized for something that unintentional. But if someone builds something on somebody else's property, didn't even pull any permits, then yeah, then there should be, and there is a mechanism for those fines, I believe, through code enforcement. That's my understanding. So, any other discussions on that? Seeing none, we will take a vote. All those in favor of a request that the issue by the Lake County Service, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. It passes. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And there's public hearings. We have ordinance number 5. Is the applicant here?
Good evening, David Evans, Evans Engineering, 719 Irma Avenue, Orlando, 32803. Here on behalf of JM Road Land and the proposed land change for 5 parcels. And following that, the second one would be the subsequent rezoning. We've got the staff report, reviewed the information. I know that we got continued from the 4th to this particular meeting based on a change in one of the parcel IDs just in the report, so it was correct. That's been corrected, and we don't have any further comments or questions on the purpose of the comp plan change for those parcels. If you look, I don't know if you ever had a big map of the property that Mr. Moskowitz bought, but he had done some swapping of properties with the church next door, Mission Road Church, to part off his property for his development, and then let them have a piece that's adjacent to 417 behind the church so they could have one cohesive property as well. So both of those tie together real well now, and this is what we're here today. There's 2 parcels that's currently in an annexation process today from the county to the city. So we got 2 of those come in, and then the others are being changed at this point to accommodate and rezone. So we're here to answer any questions if you have any. That's all.
Thank you. We'll let you know we have to come back up. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a request to amend the city's official future land use map, convert approximately 0.6 acres from Seminole County commercial and City of Oviedo medium density residential to the City of Oviedo commercial. There is a pending annexation application, which is ordinance 1694, that correlates with this request. Property consists of 5 parcels and is located on the west side of Mission Road and approximately 280 feet north of Chapel Street. The applicant has stated evidence with Evans Engineering, and the property owner is Jeff Moskowitz with JM LLC. So along with the pending annexation, the applicant has also submitted corresponding zoning map amendment, ordinance number 1696, to convert the property from Seminole County A1 agriculture, City of Oviedo residential R2, to the city, and City of Oviedo R2, to City of Oviedo commercial C2. The subject property is proposed to be developed as a medical office. Per the Land Development Code, Section 2.4D, local planning agency shall conduct a public hearing and make recommendations to the City Council regarding adoption of or amendments to the comprehensive or any element thereof. Per LDC Section 2.5A and B, City Council shall conduct a public hearing as required by controlling law regarding the adoption or amendments to the comprehensive plan shall have final approval, authority of the adoption of the plan. This is the first of 2 public hearings for ordinance number 1695. The comprehensive plan policy 1-1.1 requires the city to evaluate certain criteria when reviewing a comprehensive plan amendment. This criteria can be found in your staff report. Staff evaluated the proposed future land use map amendment consistent with the comprehensive policy in 1-1.4 and found that the proposed commercial future land use designation is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan, land use, and economic development strategies and goals of expanding commercial development, encouraging more office and commercial development within the per policy 1-1.16. The proposed future land use designation request, as well as the applicant's intended use of the property, are compatible with the pre-existing adjacent land use. Impacts of the proposed future land use map amendment were analyzed on a maximum allowable intensity of the current Seminole County commercial future land use designation at 0.35 floor area ratio, and the city of Oviedo medium density residential, which is at maximum 8 units per acre, compared to that of the maximum intensity of the proposed commercial Class 0 floor area ratio. The proposed change is anticipated to result in a net increase in the demand for transportation, water, sewer, storm, and solid waste facilities and services. Conversely, as the site is proposed for medical office, there is no anticipated increase in demand for recreation parks and school facilities. Staff received confirmation from the city's Public Works Department and Seminole County Solid Waste that there is adequate capacity to accommodate the maximum development potential of the subject property. The city's transportation concluded that there should be adequate capacity on the city's transportation network by the year 2025, consistent with the city's comprehensive. A detailed analysis of the land use compatibility and the potential to public facilities and services are provided in attachment 1. The city attorney reviewed the ordinance and offered no objections. The staff recommends approval of ordinance number 1695. It is recommended that the LPA conduct a public hearing and recommend adoption of ordinance number 1695 to the city council. Include staff's presentation. And if it's okay with the board, can I do the next presentations of all our presentations?
Let's address that,
Okay.
please.
So this is a request for the local planning agency to recommend approval of the proposed amendment to the city's official zoning map to convert approximately the same property from Seminole County A1 agriculture to the city and the city of Oviedo residential R2 to the city of Oviedo C2 commercial. And as I mentioned before, there is a pending annexation application for request. The subject property consists of 5 parcels and is generally located on the west side of Mission Road and approximately to north of Chapel Street. And the applicant is David Evans. The property owner is Jeff Moss. The applicant proposes to develop the subject property as a medical office. Comprehensive Plan Policy 1-1.4 establishes the criteria for future land use map and rezoning, and this criteria is found in your report. Staff evaluated the proposed zoning map change pursuant to the Comprehensive Plan Policy 1-1.1.4 and the attached data inventory analysis document details the staff as provided in the report. In summary, the proposed C2 zoning district is compatible with adjacent zoning districts and existing land uses. Proposed medical office is compatible with the commercial future land and C2 zoning district to the south. It is compatible with the medium density residential future land use designation R2 zoning district and Mission Road Church to the north. The proposed C2 zoning district is compatible with the medium density residential future land use designation R2 zoning district and duplexes to the east and State Road 417 to the west. The proposed zoning map amendment adds to the efforts to increase the supply of non-residential lands available for economic use. No funding commitments for capital improvement projects are required of the time because no additional capacity improvements are needed. The site consists of undeveloped uplands with little to no suitable habitat available to support wildlife, listed as threatened or endangered. There are no wetlands on the subject property. There are no adverse environmental impacts. And the designation of the property to C2 zoning provides economic development in the future. Staff recommends approval of ordinance number 1690. It is recommended that the LPA conduct a public hearing and make a recommendation of approval of ordinance 1696. This concludes staff's presentation and we're available for questions.
Perfect. So we have Ordinance, we need to consider the first one first on its individual merits. Ordinance number 1695. What is the pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, you will need to open
Oh,
up
that's
to the
right.
public.
You're right. My apologies.
Sorry, public.
Cool. Okay.
I move that we approve ordinance number 1696, City Council.
Okay. Is there a second?
Recommend, I'd like to make that means to recommend approval. We recommend.
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 Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I just have a question. Did you say 1690?
95.
Perfect.
Yeah,
And I accept his
Is that-
modification.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of ordinance 95? All of those opposed? Nay. Motion carries. I'll open again for public hearing on ordinance number 66. Seeing none.
Try this again. I recommend approval of ordinance number 16.
Recommend to the board.
I recommend to the
Council.
City Council approval of ordinance 1696.
Mr. Strong, that's all right. Any discussion? All those in favor of ordinance number 1696? All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Support City Council one?
Its first reading is September 10th.
Yeah, other items except for future date meetings, September 1st.
Not that I'm on
So we are adjourned. It is now 15.